Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm just hoping that everybody can see me. I never know when is it actually starting, so I'm just going to assume that it has started. So, first question, as always, can you guys hear me? And if you can you leave a comment in the chat so I know that everybody can hear me and everything is okay, and then we can start with the live streaming. So, that's the first question. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my brushes and everything so I can, I can destroy this painting somehow. So, we'll see how this goes. Hello, Marlena. I see you. I see you that you are live, and you are saying also hello and lots of hearts. So hello. Hello, Johan. Thank you so much. Okay. So we have an awesome live stream tonight. We're going to finalize this design. And for those of you who are joining just now, this week on Wednesday, so the previous live stream, the previous video, I did this, the beginning. I did the background of this piece, and I talked a little bit about how I chose this character, what his name is Maximillian Quercus, and his name is after the oak tree, because he, oak Quercus is kind of oak, oak in Latin or Spanish. It's more of a Spanish name, right? So how did I come up with his idea, and how do I usually go about building a world and building characters, and how do I make stories, because I actually like stories. So this was my color composition, and I left on purpose the hair out because the hair tends to be quite complicated for me, right? And then I wanted to add all sorts of details in the armor, in the background here. So short version, he's a warrior wizard. And he's currently traveling through the void, because the void is a faster way to travel between 2 points. However, he is not he needs to be very wary, because there are things lurking in the void, right? So, and this, like with the purple and so on, it's in the void. And now we're gonna talk about, why does he have a beard, a mustache? Why does he look a little bit older than usual? We said that he's around almost to 60, close to 60 years old, right? And like, why would you choose that for a character? Why? How do I do that? So this is what we're gonna talk about, and maybe we're gonna talk a little bit more about our week and how did it go. So I hope everybody's up for it, and let's get started. I'm going to mix some colors. So the first thing that I want to mix is the color for the hair. So I know that I have here the cobalt. This is the cobalt turquoise. And this is a nice color, but I'm not sure it's gonna fit. I actually wanted it to be more towards lavender, but it's lavender blue, if I can explain, right? So what am I going to do is I'm going to actually mix in some colors. So you're gonna see a very close-up shot of my palette. This is how my palette looks like. I have black here. I have the nice perlin maroon here, perlin magenta here. This is the background for which I'm going to do the stuff. So I'm gonna mix, and I'm going to mix the lavender because I have lavender from Daniel Smith, and by the way, this is an opaque color, but that's okay. So I'm going to really pick up some color, and this lavender on its own is not the color I'm looking for. I want it to be lavender blue. So I'm going to, because I'm gonna probably need a little bit more, I'm gonna mix it. So this is how I mix colors. I just make big puddles of it. It's always good to go with a big brush, because big brushes have way more things. Then I forgot to take my other brush out of the pan. I lesson learned, don't leave your brushes inside the water bucket because they disintegrate. So it's a good idea. So I'm going to mix this one, and I'm not sure if I should mix it to the turquoise or with the cerulean blue, but I'm gonna go more towards cerulean blue because that's the bluish things I can think of. So I loaded up my brush with cerulean. Cerulean, it's a nice blue, and I'm going to just mix the two together, and that should give me the lavender blue color that I'm looking for. And how will I know? Well, we're gonna test it on a piece of paper, okay? So this is how it's gonna be. I have here my piece of paper, and we're just gonna test it. Yeah, this is kind of exactly what I needed. Of course, it's very concentrated, but it's a really nice blue color. So I'm going to leave this color here. I'm gonna rinse my brush, and I'm gonna go with a smaller brush. This brush is a number 8, and it's a bit too big for what I need for the hair. So I mixed my puddle. That's all I need, right? I don't want to be mixing while painting or letting it dry. So I'm just gonna put it back, and we're gonna do so. Light comes from this side, kind of this area, right? So he's gonna have some highlights here. It's gonna be highlighted on this upper part and on this part, right? So it's gonna be some highlights because it kind of comes from here. So let's see if we can actually do that. But how's everybody? How's Marlena? I hope she's okay, and I hope everybody's okay. What happened this week? So let's first talk about that, get that out of the way. It was pretty nice weather since Wednesday. And wanted to talk a little bit because I was testing some things. So I'm going to start painting. This is just the first layer. I'm not gonna do it super too dark, and I am going to basically leave some highlights, and then I'm gonna come with the second layer, right? So I have some new some new nibs for my ink. So I have ink, like Liquitex ink. I have, like, it's an acrylic ink, and I wanted to learn how to paint with it because I enjoy doing line art, and I'm thinking what's an easier way to do it than with a Micron, maybe just using ink. And I'm leaving the highlights, by the way, here. So what I know that my cats usually come and bother me, so my reasoning for this was I'm going to put it in a very tiny receptacle, like this tiny. I'm going to put just a few drops of ink, and I'm gonna have it on my desk, and it's gonna be enough for me to dip my ink pen in it. It's gonna be awesome. And you know, it's such a small amount of ink, I thought it should be fine, right? Everything would be fine. Well, guess what happened? Curious how the hair will turn out, Johan. Okay, yeah, I'm curious as well. You're not the only one that is curious here. Okay. So what happened is I was dipping into it was here on my desk. I was dipping and, you know, being extra careful, and I just lifted my eyes just for a moment. So my cat came on my desk, as always. His name is Hop, and he's a rascal, and I can say that to everybody because he's the Mr. Rascal. So he was sitting here on my desk, and he was trying to play around. So he was playing with all my other nibs. He was pawing them. He tried to eat my brushes again. And I was like, okay, but it's still safe, right? Because I thought, well, the ink is still in the tiny container, so should be fine. So I'm letting some whites there because those are going to be highlights, okay? This is just the first layer, don't worry. We're gonna do more layers. And I lift my eyes for, I don't know, not even a moment. I don't even know how long was it. Look, I forgot to leave a highlight here. We're gonna leave it like this. So I just was watching on the paper what I was like drawing some tulips. And you know what he did? He put his paw in the tiny receptacle. So he put his paw in. Of course, he got ink all over himself because, well, that's just normal. And he was holding his little paw like this, like weirdly. And I was like, what's going on? Because I didn't see when he put his paw. So I was like, why are you holding your paw like that? What's going on? And then I made the move towards him just to, touch the paw. And then he got scared, probably knowing he did something that he shouldn't have. Right? Because he shouldn't have done that. And he started running away. Of course, his paw was full of ink. Don't know how, from such a tiny amount of ink, he got so much ink everywhere. And he stepped on the table. He stepped on the other table. He stepped on his white kind of blanket here that he sleeps on. He sleeps on a white blanket right next to me. He made that one black because the ink was black. He made everything black, basically. That's how the best way I can describe it. Everything was black. And in the end, I managed to catch him because he was running away from me. And then I had to call my husband to hold him because I needed to clean his paw. And he wouldn't let me. I wasn't understanding why, because I took what I usually clean my stamps with. I mean, it's just wipes, like not baby wipes, but like the wipes that you would wipe your countertop and so on. Then I realized afterwards that actually why he didn't want me to clean his paw was because the wipes are lemon scented. So like he doesn't like lemon, nothing lemon, as in he doesn't like the smell of lemon and anything. And he was struggling. He didn't want to be clean. And I was like, I have to clean you because then you're gonna go on the floor. You're gonna go everywhere, basically. It's gonna go everywhere and it's gonna make a mess. That's the reality of it, okay? So it was a struggle. It was really a struggle to get him to be clean. Of course, we couldn't clean everything, but at least what I wanted is for him to be clean enough so when he's going to clean his paw, he's not gonna get all black, like imagine his entire mouth or anything black. So yeah, adventures with Happy. So I managed to clean him good enough so that he wasn't leaving any more weird things on the floor. Not the best not the best clean, I would say, but it's okay. Could have been worse. So yeah, cleaned him, but then I had to clean all around. So now my table, because it's wood, my table is wood, it's completely stained because it has black balls and the ink goes inside the wood. It permeates the wood. So that's why my husband was asking me when I got it, like, are you sure you don't want me to put the lock on it? And I thought, no, because that's going to be glossy. It's going to be weird looking. And now I understand why I should have accepted it. Why I needed to accept it. But it's a bit too late now. The damage is done. And there's nothing I can do about it anymore. So that was the funny story, right? So that was Friday. I need to mix some more paint, so sorry, put it, but big rascal. Yeah, he's a very big rascal. There's nothing to say that, don't know, other than this. He's a very big rascal. And what else did we do? Yesterday we actually cleaned the whole house again, which is nice because yeah, it's always good to clean the house. And today we actually did gardening. So the gardening is something that I like to do, especially now in the spring. I have quite some flowers that are just now starting to bloom in the garden. I have some hyacinths, some tulips, and some narcissus. I already had snow crocus, or how do you call that? Snow pops, snow, the white flowers, the snow stuff. Those ones were already there, and now we got some more, which is super awesome. So yeah, this is we've been gardening. We the problem is that we live next to the inner sea, and we have very big lakes around us. And living with so much humidity around, that means that we get these green thingies around everywhere, basically. And then you need to clean that like every year, from your garden, from the tiles, from your front porch, from your house, from your fence, because those they can damage everything. It's like a sort of algae thingy that just is there. So yeah, this is what we did. And I have a special thing that sprays around with the solution that you need to use, which is basically vinegar. Okay, so let's be clear, I'm not using any weird chemicals or anything, but you can clean that stuff with vinegar. So I'm just spraying vinegar. It's a special cleaning vinegar, but it's vinegar. Smells like vinegar also. So this is kind of what we did today. And we also cleaned all the old flowers that were a bit dead or from last year, right? Because we didn't clean that. And we freed out all the new flowers that were there for them to bloom good, and to be okay. So that was about it. We didn't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go anyway. So we were just sitting at home, working and doing this. So as you might have seen on my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, is I was playing around with things like embossing powder and other cool stuff. And I was let me just do the face a little bit more. So I wanted to do a design on black paper, and I thought I'm going to do it with embossing powder. So I have this very sticky ink that I have it on. So I'm adding some darker parts here with the same shade. So these darker inks are very important. Let's put it this way. So darkening of stuff. Okay. So where was I? I wanted to see if it's going to be easier to color in on black paper if I have this. If I have the embossing powder. Embossing powder acts as a resist and it's a bit raised from the paper, so then you can color in everything nicely. And usually I would have used the stamp, so I would have a stamp and I would stamp and then I would emboss and then color in. But this time I wanted to basically create my own design. So I did it manually, like one flower at a time. It's very, very time consuming and pretty messy. Okay, so this is like the first layer. Of course, everything here is going to be I'm going to do like this. So I did it. It looked wonderful. It took a long time. So I was playing around with the embossing powder. The problem when you don't use a stamp, there's a very big problem or disadvantage when you don't use a stamp, is that you have to draw with your own hand, but your hand has all these basically oils, and what you end up doing is you end up adding oils to the page where you don't want it. So when you're going to put embossing powder, it's going to stick to places where you just had your hand, and it can be very frustrating because it can be very, very much yeah, unexpected. and yeah, you need to basically be careful. So I did it very carefully, and then I colored in with my metallic inks. It looked really nice. I'm not saying it wasn't looking really nice, but man, it took forever. So I'm thinking next time I'll just do a really tiny design. It's not worth it to do a full A4 page with this kind of thing. It just takes too long. The shadows is I'm going to go in with really darker blue everywhere, and we're gonna do shadows, okay? But for now, let's see if we can have some gray. What would be a nice gray? Payne's gray. Not Payne's gray, but yeah, Payne's gray. This would be a nice gray. Okay, so now let's talk about character design, and how did I come up with this idea? How did I come up with Max basically, and why is he old basically? And the reason for that is I draw my inspiration from books that I read and that I like. So I read a lot of books, and I've read a lot of books. I've been reading since I was small kid. I think I started reading very young, and I was reading books after books after books. I really enjoyed books that deal with like more adventure books, right? I remember my first adventure books from with the Three Musketeers and Alexandre Dumas and so on, right? And I really enjoyed those books. And then, as I got older, I started reading different things and more into sci-fi and fantasy. And I really enjoy fantasy. I think is some of my my favorite genre, and I read a lot. I read a lot of fantasy, right? One of the books that I really liked and that I get a lot of my ideas. So what happens when I read a book, and maybe that's interesting, is I really get transported into the world and I start creating my own characters in those worlds based on that world, or my own adventures with the characters from the world, right? And I start creating ideas and you know, I'm like, this is what the guy is doing in their free time and so on. So like for me, books are a source of inspiration because the world is already created, so I just need to create a character in that world, and sometimes I'm putting myself in that world. Not always, but you know, like this is how I operate. And one of the books that I really enjoyed, it's called a Death Gate, and there's 7 books, right? Which is quite a lot for some people. And it's so funny that I started reading that book backwards, because my mother-in-law is sometimes bringing me she's bringing me books, and she's bringing me books from the second-hand shop. Okay, so I got this book, and it was the last book in the series of 7 books. So I read it, was really nice. And then I wanted to find out what happened with the end, right? Like, how did they get to where they were and the characters. But the main character of the book is actually a guy. He's a wizard, hence Max, right? He's a wizard, and his name is Haplo. By the way, this Death Gate part is written by Margaret Weiss and the other person that she usually works with. It's really nice. It talks about the world sundering. So somewhere in the future, people discover magic, and there were 2 types of magic, right? One runes magic, and another one was more like incantation magic, singing and so on. And this main character, he actually was born in the labyrinth because the guys with the incantation magic imprisoned all of the other guys in this labyrinth, and the labyrinth was like, anyway, super full of monsters and so on. And the guy had to learn how to fend for himself and so on. And then they finally managed to break free. And this guy, being one of the most capable like wizards, he gets sent by his lord to find a way to unite the world again. So the world got sundered into 4 pieces, like a water, desert, like air, like floating thingies, underground, with lava and so on. And he travels to all these worlds in search for a way to make the world back again into one, right? Because the idea initially was very good. The idea was they're gonna sunder the world, and each of the separate worlds is going to contribute to the bigger world, and each of the separate world had something that the other worlds needed. But when they did this, when they actually sundered the world, the idea was it didn't go according to plan, because it never does, right? So it went terribly wrong. So the connection between the worlds never happened. So there were worlds that were basically suffering because they didn't have air, or they didn't have water, and so on, right? So these guys traveling through the world trying to fix it. The interesting part, however, is that he's an old guy. I think he's around 80, 90. He's an old guy. He's lived through a lot of things, and you know, he's still doing his thing, and you know, there's no things like romance involved, and this is what I liked about those books, right? There's not weird it's not forced, you know. It's not forced at all, and the guy was old, but still the main character, and him being old, it just meant that he was very wise, right? So he could do stuff, he saw things, he could lead people, and so on. So this is where I realized that, you know, you don't necessarily need to have young characters or anything. Like I thought that he was fitting the story, so that's why I wanted for my stories also to have characters from all sorts of life. And although for me it's a bit more difficult to make this kind of characters because, well, I'm not that old, right? I'm not doing that. I wanted him to be, you know, older and to be kind of like a mentor to everybody else, right? And he could be more wiser than majority of the people, right? So let's do some extra layers on the beard and on everywhere. Okay. So this is where the idea from Max came, right? And I really like this idea of a wizard, warrior, and so on. And I read so many books. I mean, I read also the Myth books, Frank Casperin and Dune and everything. And I mean, I'm really enjoying myself because they are, for me, like a source of inspiration. And not saying a source of inspiration of, man, I'm going to copy everything, right? But it's a sense of inspiration of, you know, world building and creation. And I really enjoy reading. If I think in a way I enjoy reading more than I enjoy art, which is weird, but I really enjoy reading. And I did try before to, when I was in high school, and I was writing my own novel, and you know, I was trying to make ideas. The problem when you are young, you don't necessarily have many original ideas or anything, right? Another piece of inspiration for me is something that I watch a lot, and I not only watch, so it's manga and anime. So I read a lot of manga and lots of stories because it helps me, you know, create stories and read stuff and become good at it. So, you know, just by taking examples from others is the only way for you to become good at that and actually create your own worlds. So I consume a lot of this type of media. I read a lot of mangas. I, you know, have subscriptions everywhere, and I watch a lot. And what I liked about mangas is there's a lot of philosophy involved when you know, people write that, and there's a lot of background, and there's a lot of things that you go like, that is interesting, and that is something that, you know, I didn't understand. There's some animes and stuff that I have to watch multiple times until I get it. and they go down to the detail of the names of the characters. The names of the characters are never chosen. I mean, they might sound weird, right? But they're never chosen as random. Let's put it this way, right? They're very much in line with what the character is supposed to represent and what the character is supposed to be. So, you know, I'm just saying that this is how I get my inspiration, and you know, different people will get their inspiration differently. I'm not a singular person in this or anything, but yeah. So sometimes I really like the artwork. So one of my favorite, and I know it's gonna sound controversial, everybody likes Studio Ghibli, right? Or Ghibli or Gimli or whatever you want to call it. And indeed it is beautiful, and they really have good stories, right? Like, let's assume that we all know what we're talking about here. Those stories are wonderful. Like the grave of the fireflies. Wow, that was just amazing, man. That was just amazing. Of course you're gonna cry your eyes out because you know it's so sad, but yeah, you can't deny the masterpiece. You can't deny the fact that you know, they know what they're doing. And the same way I like the visuals and the story of some others. And one of the latest one that I watched was Somali and the Spirit of the Forest, and this is like an allegory of our world, basically. But there are many races living there, lots of non-humans, right? Magicians and so on. And humans are actually on their way to be extinct because they were hunted down. Humans got a bad rep. They killed some monsters. They were pretty intolerant, and then the monsters decided, well, you know, we're gonna hunt you down to extinction, right? But there's this girl that survives and, you know, gets saved by this golem, and they start on a journey for the golem to find like other humans so he could leave it with her. And you know, it's a basic story of a father and a child, or a guy that discovers how to be a father. But the visuals are so stunning of this world, because they go through all sorts of, like, the forest of blood, the caves of, like, it's so wonderful. And I was like, sometimes I'm thinking, you know, I'm sometimes thinking, when I'm gonna grow up and when I'm gonna be a proper artist, I'm going to be able to do art like that, to showcase those kind of worlds and to showcase that. So this is like my dream, sort of, say, if you wanna put it this way, you know, to be able to reach that and to be able to do that. You know, I'm gonna deepen it with blue, but for now I think I'm just gonna let it dry out a little bit. I'm not gonna do a lot of things. I want to deepen some other stuff here, so that's why. Okay, so yeah, I sometimes cry at this anime, not because, okay, the story is sad and so on, but the beauty of those sceneries and how they depict it is so pretty. And then, of course, I'm going to imagine my own stories in that environment and my own characters in that environment, or something similar, because, you know, there are things that do make me dream, right? So this is why I read books, and this is why I continue to do stuff. Okay, how does it look so far, guys? Tell me. We're 39 minutes in. And I'm hoping everybody's still with me. Okay. I'm having my mouse onto the side. I think this is definitely something that I've done much better than some of my previous ones. Why am I saying that? Is because if you remember my last girls, they were pretty much the Simpsons. So, you know, like that. So what we're gonna do, I added some more black. I'm going to try to deepen some colors. Like I'm going to try to deepen some of the browns and so on. And then we're gonna add the details into the armor and the details into the background. Right, I don't want to super overwork everything. I think I need to do a little bit more darker here, but I want to add some more darker blue. So, you know, I'm just gonna let it super dry, and then we're gonna add some more darker blue. And it's probably the nostrils needs to be a little bit more darker, right? So, I'm just gonna add a little bit more here, and you know, spread it around. Okay. So every time I read something, you know, I just transform it, or I get elements out of that. I get elements into my own worlds or into my own build, you know, world building, together with some new elements that are not anywhere. So, yeah. Is that what you would call fan fiction? I'm not sure if it's called fan fiction or whatever, but I'm really, at least I am enjoying it. And in the end, I want to be able to tell my own stories via this world building, and I want to be able to create my own characters. And, you know, I'll get there someday. And this is one of them, right? He can be very fierce. He can be like, and I think I need to go even deeper here, like super deep, super dark. Super deep and super dark. By the way, the pupil needs to be super dark. So I'm wondering, I'm going to add later on some light in there, but the pupil needs to be dark, I think. Maybe I should use the same purple. Okay. And I know it looks weird now, but you have to add the white in there. It's okay. I'm gonna add the white later on. It's probably going to have to be really, really black. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we're gonna come back to it. This is in the shadow. Okay, looks better. Okay. So the question is, you know, is there a formula for success? Is there anything? I think you just need to just do it. I think the more you read about character design and the more you read about how to do it, the more weird it becomes. So I would say just Don't get bogged down by it. Just do it. It'll be fine, I think. Initially, when I was younger, I wanted to actually become a game developer. And I know it's weird. Okay, I'm a software engineer, so I know. And the reason why I want to become a game developer is because I wanted to create my own stories and my own games and my own storyline. Because I play also lots of games, right? So I do that. I do that a lot. And now I know that life as a game developer is pretty not good right now. I mean, I know that people getting super overworked and so on. So maybe that's why I don't necessarily want it now, that the stories have been told about the insane conditions. People Johan says just go for it. Right? So I doubt that I'll be a game developer or anything. But that doesn't mean that I can't still tell my stories otherwise. Dun, dun, dun. I'll have to consider what darker blue I want to use. But first, okay, what did I have an idea? I had an idea to do like a branch going like this and then going like this. So I'm gonna use my brush and I'm gonna use the same purple, and we're gonna do that branch that I envision, and we're gonna do it without. It's gonna be so nerve-wracking. Okay. I wanted to do the creepiest branch I could think of. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily succeeding here in the creepiness section, but yeah. Okay. So why is it important for me to tell stories? Is because, well, I don't wanna lose them. I want other people to know about them and to enjoy them as much as I enjoyed them in my head. Is it true what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is weird, but I'm always considering, like, you know, why should I be the only one enjoying this? Why should I be the only one looking at this? So branches are like this. So I want to tell my stories, and I'm hoping that at least one or two people will listen. And if one or two people will listen, then, you know, I'm happy. And then maybe I can inspire somebody else to do like really cool art, you know, like the type of cool art that you see and you go like, wow, how did he come up with the idea? And I'm like, oh yeah, he was inspired by this and this and this, just like, you know, other people inspire me. So this is what I want. I want to inspire others so that they can create in their turn art and they can do stuff by themselves. Man, the void is scary. And imagine this, like, if you look at it this way, I think if I look at a lot of the games, they were all inspired by the likes of Margaret Wise and all of these fantasy books that were done like in the 70s, in the 80s. All of these games are inspired by it. So yeah. Of course, the tree is dead, right? There's no leaves on it because it's a dead tree. I hope everybody understands that. It's in the void. Okay. I'm hoping that everything got okay. And now I'm gonna go with a much darker blue into the hair, and then we're gonna do let's just go super dark. What do we have to lose? I'm just gonna redo this one, huh? So do you all read books actually, and what are the type of books that are interesting for you? That's the question I would like to have answered. Do you like the fantasy ones or do you like more real? Well, and to be true, everything is fantasy, right? There's not something that you can say that is not fantasy. Everything is super fantasy. I'm going to do like really darker blue. Oh no, maybe I should do indigo. That's way too bright. I mean, it's dark blue, but it's way too bright. So I think I need to use this one, not this one. The dark blue, this one next to the Payne's gray. I think this is the dark blue. It's from StreamCam, by the way. Oh yeah, this is a dark blue. It's a real dark blue. Okay. Okay. I know nowadays people maybe don't read that much, or maybe you read only on your Kindle or something. I also don't. I mean, I used to buy lots of like real books in real, and I used to like that. But nowadays, I buy exclusively on the Kindle, and just because I don't like owning the books anymore. They take way too much time, too much space. Let's put it this way. And also, you know, man, cutting of trees and so on is something on my mind, and I don't like to be part of that anymore. So I'm hoping that there's lesser books that are being, you know, produced. Although some people might say that also the Kindle is pretty much consuming lots of energy, but I'm just hoping that it's not as much as a couple of books. So yeah, not going to. I mean, I only buy secondhand books if I were to buy books. and that is from the second-hand shops, but currently all the second-hand shops are closed, so I can't actually go there, so I can't actually buy more second-hand books. We used to have a book, how do you call that, a trade at work. So we used to trade books, especially sci-fi and so on. That is because we like books. Everybody likes books in the Netherlands, and we used to have, like in the office, we used to have this thing where people would leave their books. It was a box, and you would leave your book there, and then people would come pick it up, who wanted to read it, and you know, then they will bring it back. You didn't have to take it back, right? It's more like a book exchange in a way, which was really nice. So I kind of mixed that. But I have my Kindle, so I'm buying lots of books. You might wondering, when do I have the time to read? Just in between everything. I try to read at least a few books once in a while, and sometimes when I'm in a book reading mood, I actually I can read a lot of books in a very short amount of time. I read quite speedy, so you know, I sometimes go like, okay, now I'm reading books this week, and then I might just read like 5 or 6 books in a week. And this is how I grow and I do my stuff. Reading books. So the beard is starting to get some really nice shape, especially with the dark blue, I'm saying. I really want to create a print out of this, so you know, I really want to do a good job. Okay. So, however said, I don't buy like reading books, but I bought some watercolor books there. So my watercolor books arrived. They come from I ordered them on the book depository. Of course, you can always order them on Amazon, but I had some coupons there, so you know, I got them a little bit cheaper. I always like to use discounts if I have them. And I bought some watercolor books, especially botanical watercolor books, because this is what I per se like to do, and I would like to see how other people did their botanicals. I have to say I'm not very impressed by many of the books. Out of all the pages, like some of the books, out of all the pages, the first half of the book is all about watercolor, the basics, you know, like how do you hold your brush and how do you do this and that, and I'm so not in the mood. So half of the book is about that, and then they have just a few flowers, and I was hoping I could learn. What am I looking for is I'm looking for somebody that can properly showcase, you know, how do you do watercolor flowers and shading. Shading for me is something that is very interesting because I kind of need it in the way I do my illustration, like my style. It's very illustrative, right? So I was looking for somebody that was able to explain this very good, right? Like, okay, light comes from, like, flowers can be very difficult and can be also made very simple in the same time. And I think I got past the normal flowers. I mean, I don't have a problem with drawing them. I just have a problem with, you know, how do you deal with life light in so many petals, and I was hoping that some of this might actually give me that idea, but well, it was not to be. Okay. I'm gonna need to do a little bit more the brows and here as well. And then I'm just gonna go super dark underneath there, see what happens, where could go wrong. Okay. I think the tree needs a little bit more. Spunk. Okay. And now with my smaller brush, I wanted to start doing here I wanted to do a kind of a flower pattern. Let's try it out. Right, we're gonna do orange, and I'm sorry my hand is in the way, you guys are not seeing it, but we're gonna do orange, and this is transparent orange with some black, so I'm gonna darken it up. Okay, so it turned into a very dark brown, which is still quite nice. So something like this, of course, with more leaves and so on. I don't know. We'll see. First I'll do some swirlies, and then we'll do some leaves. Yeah. Okay. So for now, so what's the hardest part to color in? Right? Wait, let me click because I want to make sure that I can. What's the hardest part to color in? I guess the face, because I don't want it to look like a. And also the lips, I think these are hard, right? The actual background was pretty easy to do, right? Which is really nice. I guess the shadows. Okay, the shadows are the hardest part to do from anything. So I'm still struggling with it, right? So still doing things. You might wonder why is it the hardest part? I don't know. I'm always afraid to mess it up, because in watercolor, once you go dark, you can't undo it. So, you know. And I think I have this weird way of coloring that I think it's the more illustrative style is more akin to how people would color with a marker, with like a Copic marker, and I'm trying to reproduce that, like to do the shadow and the ombre effect and everything. So I'm doing some swirlies, and then I'm going to have some leaves coming in. leaves everywhere. And on flowers, because I do such big compositions of flowers, it doesn't really matter where the light comes a lot of times, because my flowers are in all directions a lot of times. I know, weird. I just don't do a bouquet that looks like in a certain direction and so on. So that's why it really doesn't matter that much for flowers, but for humans, shadows are very important, because shadows are what give the illusion of something being there. So, you know, and I guess the only way I can learn is by doing, because there's no other way. There's no other way to learn. I tried Skillshare, to be honest. Haven't found the person that could explain this. So there are many great artists. That's the problem. There's a lot of artists out there that are doing awesome job, right? Like the most awesomest job that you can think of. However, they're really poor teachers. So, and that reminds me of my teacher, my actual drawing teacher in school. And he was our teacher, and he was very famous sculptor and painter in our town. Like a lot of the sculptures on the cliffs were his. So very famous guy. Also he won lots of prizes everywhere. But yeah, really bad teacher. Like I didn't learn anything from him. And I'm not sure if there's a correlation, but you know, when you're teaching somebody to do something, that's why to be honest, I am staying away from doing too many tutorials on YouTube, because I don't want to do tutorials. Like, I had so many bad teachers, right, that I don't want to have people go through the same experience where I become the bad teacher. I would hate to be the one to do that, to be honest. I think I would feel really bad. So, that's why I'm also slow with making videos, and why I prefer live videos to actual tutorials. And maybe I just need to get over it, because there are so many people out there that are just doing tutorials, and they're not very good teachers, but they're doing things. But I'm not, I don't like to, I'm a perfectionist, and I think that says it all. I don't like to do subpar work or subpar teaching experience for anybody. And maybe this is my problem, right? But yeah, this is what I truly believe. Not everybody is cut up to be a teacher, and I'm not sure I am. I can tell you what my process is, and I can explain what the process is, but I cannot judge whether or not people understand what I'm doing, or whether or not they are able to reproduce, right? And maybe it's not needed. Could be that maybe it's not needed. Maybe I'm taking it a little bit too far. But still. So I'm really holding the brush really close to the bristles, so I can have full control I know some girls like to do it like this. I'm not sure how you can hold it like that. I never learned it like this. So in order for me, more control is when I'm closer by. Yeah. So yeah, that's, I don't know. Is that a teacher moment? No, it's not a teacher moment, I think. I think that's just me saying what I usually do and trying not to teach others. And some people can see certain things really clearly. And I don't always see things clearly. I might see things totally different, right? If you are asking me, but the light comes from there and then the shadows should be in that form or the other, and I'm like, I'm not seeing that. Because maybe my brain works differently. I don't know. You know? Okay. Gonna add some more here. So the reason why I did leaves is because, you know, oak tree, oak leaf. Of course, these are not oak leaves, but, you know, you get the meaning. He has a really nice armor that is really nice done. Okay. Okie dokie. And now I'm wondering here on the green, maybe I want to do something also on the green. And then you guys can tell me where do you think I'm missing some things. So I'm going to do some green. I'm going to have some really dark green. And I'm gonna mix that with our even darker green. Okay. You know, now I'm scared. I'm scared if I should do it or not. Johan says, I think it's hard to find tutorial that you need for people with a different level skill to look for different tutorials. That's true. That's true. Maybe if I was me, but me 5 years ago, I would have been okay with the Skillshare tutorials that I found and with the tutorials online, or with even the watercolor books, right? I would have been okay 5 years ago. I would have been okay, but now I require a little bit more than that, right? And I'm thinking that it is maybe what some people go. They go to these retreats where, you know, they actually are with the artists themselves and they work together with some stuff. It can very well be that maybe that is the solution, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna lie here. So you might not see what I'm doing here, but I'm basically creating a pattern. And I'm starting here. No idea how this is gonna work. Right, I'm going to destroy this pattern because I don't like it, and I'm just gonna make it super dark here, and that's gonna be fine. We're gonna pretend it never happened. Okay, I'm even starting to sing here. Yeah, we're gonna pretend it never happened. Okay, pretend with me. Okay, that's good. So sorry. I'm not very good at pattern yet. I think I need to study a little bit how to do proper patterns in in watercolor. I can basically only do lines and stuff, which I'm not sure I wanna only do lines. If you're wondering what brown is, this burnt amber. Burnt amber is a really nice brown. And I'm really going to do just some lines. So keeping the brush like this, 90 degrees allows me to do really tiny lines, right? I move the entire hand, Okay. Okay. And now the same. Really, the tip of the brush is the only thing that touches the paper. And I'm doing short lines. And it's okay if they're a bit messy. This is leather after all. Okay, and I think I need to add some more details in this yellow. So let's see. Let's do some more yellow, dark yellow. Ooh, that's a weird color. Why did I mix blue with yellow? that did not turn out the way I imagined it's going to turn out, so no. Yellow and black, a little bit black. That's better. Oh, actually, it's almost the same. Okay, I'm going to do some darker lines here with yellow, some darker yellow, just to show, you know, that here was and is some more lines. This cannot be just the same color everywhere. Okay, and then we're gonna occupy ourselves with the face, and that will be the last thing that we do for this live stream. In the meantime, guys, if you anyway have questions, don't forget to put them in, because I'm more than happy to answer if I can. Okay. Johan didn't see anything. Yes, you didn't see anything. Thank you. It's not like we can delete it off the internet, but at least we can pretend it never happened. Okay. I'm gonna do the same here. Gonna do a couple of things that are a bit more darker. Gives it a nicer look, right? Don't know. Only the yellow was looking a little bit too weird. Okay, now let's do some black. I need a black, not black brown, but it's okay. The more black I'm gonna add, the more better it's gonna be. And okay, here goes nothing. Are you guys ready? And then you're gonna ask yourself, why did I do that? I don't know. I just wanted to deepen the shadows because I'm crazy like this and I thought that there was not enough shadows. Okay, and they aren't. Because this is, his hair is on his eye here, you know, that's why. Okay. What would uniform it is if I go on top of it with some of the Jaune Brilliant and do these lines lesser harsh. So I'll consider it. I think I wanted some more blue here, some of this dark blue. Is this dark blue? Yes, this is dark blue. By the way, the color is called dark blue. So when's the next stream of Max? Part 3. Part 3. What would we do on part 3? Johan? Is he on a different storyline? Is he doing something differently? What do you think it's missing from this part? Is it the guys in back, the evil dudes, or just another story? Maybe how he met some other characters, or you know, some of his really cool fights with some dudes. What do you expect actually from part 3? I would say this is the first appearance of Max, and I think he needs to do some more appearances. And he needs to appear maybe in a town. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Appearing in a town. Yeah, why not? Like a really steampunky town. That would be fun. But you know, that not only depends on me. That depends on my partner in crime. That can help me bring him to life again. Okay. I think the last thing I'm going to try is do some more Jaune Brilliant with lots of water and try to see if we can maybe we need to do once a month, right? Once a month to do one of the characters, or Max again, something like that. I think that would be super pretty cool, and I think that will work okay. Yep. Dun dun dun. Let's deepen some more shadows on this word. Maybe we're gonna bring his best friend Artosh back to life. Maybe it's gonna be a scene with both of them drinking. You know, after a hard day of working, they're gonna go to this really funny tavern and they're gonna drink and they're gonna have fun and they're gonna gossip about everybody. That would be cool. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Do you think I need to do some more of this? No matter how much I try this one, it will always dry out very light, so not much I can do about that. Still looks nice. Maybe I need an extra branch down here. Okay. So, Marlena, did you like the story about Max? That's the question. You've been very vocal so far. Okay. And you were saying that you like it. You like the colors and everything, but what do you think about the story? Is it nice? Yeah. This extra branch makes it really nice. Okay. I'm really happy. And maybe the branch extends because it's gonna go like this, and then the branch extends a little bit past this one and goes a little bit this way. I'm hoping Marlena liked it. Okay, that's good. That's a good branch, and I think that is a good illustration, all in all. Really liked it. I really, oh, look, I forgot here. I'm gonna add some more lines. I really like the leather, and I really like that I was able to add some details, right? Like this on the leather. It's really nice. I really like how the leaves and the swirlies ended up in his armor, you know? And then this is really dark green, like a ranger's green, right? His face is really nice. I think it's as harsh as he is, right? Sometimes, so he's harsh. Well, the story it might say, I want to see more stories. Okay, then let's do more stories. I think I would like to see more stories with Max as well. But for now, this was the end. For those of you that stayed till the end, thank you so much for doing so. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the stories and of the books that I read. You can leave me a comment below after the stream is ending and tell me, like, what is your favorite book and what are the books that you enjoy reading, right? Because everybody enjoys reading different type of books and different type of stories. And you can tell me, maybe I would oh, look what I forgot the most important thing, and I actually need white for this. He needed the eye, the white in the eye here. Sorry. This is also here. Yeah, this is what I forgot. Like, how could I forget the white of the eye? Oh, Marlena, she really likes it. Okay, cool. This actually is going to be, you guys remember when I did my first ever girl? Oh, oh, Victor, thank you. I didn't know you were here, but thank you. I'm glad that you liked it. I always said that I'm going to replace the girl that I did, the first girl that I did, as soon as I get something that is better. So this guy is better. So yeah, then I'm just going to replace him with that. So we're gonna post this on Instagram somewhere next week, and there's probably going to be a print out of it. Thank you so much, and now I'm going to just close the stream, and as soon as I find my mouse, because my mouse is nowhere to be found.